This is about good kissing and bad kissing. Is this controversial if I say this? I don't know. I mean, these days, maybe. Everything's controversial these days. Look, just thinking about it. Ugh. I'm gonna put some clips of the kisses here, and hopefully YouTube doesn't get mad at me for it. I watched a whole bunch of like videos on how to use like copyright stuff in your videos, and technically I shouldn't get flagged or copyright whatever struck. I should be able to put these clips in. I'm not using sound, it's just a small clip. So please, YouTube, just be nice to me and let this be seen by people. Okay. From movies to video games, welcome to Marie Plays It All. Today is a side quest episode that I am venturing on by myself with no companion today because I just thought, because of the context of this episode and the topic, it would be more appropriate if I ventured by myself. So everyone knows that I love horror. My room is filled. Every picture in here is horror. I'm all horrored up. I got horror everywhere, all around. But what people don't know, maybe, is that I also love romance. And amongst all the horror that's around, and there's some that you can't see, there, right here to my right, there's one romantic art piece. And it's a collage art of a man and a woman in bed in a mid embrace, and the woman is like all filled with stars, like a galaxy, and it's so romantic. And it's the only thing in here that's not horror related, but I love it. I love it. I love romance just as much as horror. And sometimes romance mixed with horror is a really good, deadly combination. But I'm not talking about anything horror today. Nothing. I don't think anything that I have. Oh, there's one that I had that's slightly horror, but more sci fi. I just got to sneak a little bit in there, I guess. So I'm basing this episode off of a post that I made on one of my Instagram pages a long time ago of my favorite on-screen kisses. And since it's February, it's the month of love and all that, I just figured why not have an episode about this? But also I can't just be like full on, oh, look how beautiful this is. I got to have some cringe in there. And trust me, I thought of some, and I know I'm forgetting some too that I know are really cringy, but it'll probably come to me when I'm done recording. But anyway, I have my list of my top 5 favorite on-screen kisses and my top 5 most cringiest, gives me the shivers on-screen kisses. And this is movies and TV shows. And I do stress that this is my personal opinion for these. I'm not picking the typical ones, like how everyone thinks that, like in Titanic and The Notebook, those are all like like the best on-screen kisses. I don't got those. This is a little bit different. These are my personal favorites, ones that stand out to me, like, oh my God, or ooh, like that. And then the cringiest ones, there's also the typical ones that are like, Jack Nicholson in The Shining was a typical one. There's really funny ones like from Dumb and Dumber, which is just funny. I'm picking ones that are cringy based on what's happening in the scenario of the scene, or based on how it looks to me, based on the context of the scene. And I'm also doing like my favorite kisses like that as well. So I'm gonna go right into it and I'm gonna do my top 5. Gotta save the worst for last. I'm gonna start with my top 5 favorite on-screen kisses. Here we go. Number 5, best. I did originally have the kiss between Renee Zellweger and Colin Firth at the end of the Bridget Jones Diary, and I'm substituting that one because I don't really enjoy that movie. It's ridiculous when I think about it. Like, she's supposed to be plus size. Like, what? Anyway, that's another, it's a whole other thing. B, the kiss isn't great. I rewatched it and I was like, it didn't really do anything for me. It didn't seem like overly passionate. I guess if you watch the movie from start to finish, there's like a build up, but it's the quote that I liked. They kiss, and Renee Zellweger says to Colin Firth, "Nice boys don't kiss like that." And then Colin Firth says, "Oh yes, they bleep and do." And I like that. I like that. But the kiss itself, not great. So I'm substituting the Bridget Jones Diary one with a kiss for one of my most favorite rom-coms of all time that I've probably seen at least 60 times, Pretty Woman. Okay. If you know the story of Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts is a lady of the night. And Richard Gere is a rich man, very rich man, and he picks her up for companionship, really. I mean, kind of. Well, actually, he wanted directions, but he hires her for companionship, kinda. I mean, with a little bit of perks, right? But he hires her for the whole week. And she says that she has these rules, okay? And one of her rules is I don't kiss on the mouth, it's too personal. Everything else, not personal, I guess, but kissing on the mouth is too personal. So there's a scene where they've been spending some time together and she comes out of the bathroom and he's asleep. And I'm gonna start tearing up, you guys. And he's asleep and she goes and sits on the bed and she kisses her fingertips and puts them on his lips. And that's not good enough. It doesn't suffice anymore because she's falling in love and whatever. He's falling in love with her, but you don't really know for sure, but you hope and you see the signs. And then she kisses him on the lips and he wakes up and she's like, oh, and then he's like, oh, and then they kiss on the lips, on the mouth for the first time. But there's this hovering and like grazing of the lips. And it looks so sensual and so gentle at first. And just like they're like exploring, like it's just like this very intimate scene. And I love it because they're finally basically admitting to each other that they love each other without saying it by sharing that first kiss. And I love that scene. Ever since I was a girl and way too young to watch this movie, I have loved that scene and it always made me like, "Ah." My number four top favorite on-screen kisses is the kiss between Kate and Sawyer in Lost. Their first kiss in Lost. I think it's season 1, episode 8. It's from the Confidence Man episode. And the story behind this kiss is like, there's tension. There's heat tension between Kate and Sawyer. And they're button heads, but it's like because they like each other or whatever. Oh, if he's mean to you, he likes you. It's like that type of thing. So there's this Shannon girl on the island who has asthma and she lost her inhaler. Everyone thinks Sawyer has the inhaler because the last person I saw all our stuff was Sawyer and he's like the bad guy, the bad boy. And they want Shannon's inhaler back. They are convinced that Sawyer has it. So Saeed Jarrah, he takes Sawyer, ties him to a tree, and tortures him because he wants to know. I'm still playing with my hair, even though I have this. Because he needs to know where the inhaler is, so he's torturing him to get it. So basically, Kate comes and Sawyer says, "Oh, I'll tell you where the inhaler is, but Kate has to kiss me." Basically, doesn't sound romantic, okay? But the scene is so intense, and it's just this still shot from the side of them kissing, and there's like a tongue action in there, soft tongue, church tongue, not tongue, like from the Wedding Singer, the quote from the Wedding Singer. And I just think there's so much tension. There's tension being released, but there's also a lot of heat in it and a lot of passion in it. And there's like pain in it a little bit. It looks like, oh, like, should I do this? But I'm doing this. I don't want to do this, but I want to do this, And then at the end, they look at each other and there's this eye contact. Woo! It's an intense one. And then Sawyer says, I don't got it. He doesn't have the inhaler. He just which is I'm saying it now, it's kind of bad. He like conned her into kissing him, but it makes for a good scene. That is definitely my number four. All right, number three. I've only seen this movie once, but I liked it, and this scene to me is just so romantic. And that is the elevator kiss scene between Carey Mulligan and Ryan Gosling in Drive. The reason why I love the scene so much, it has to do with, I mean, the cinematography is great, the lighting's great, the color palette's great, the slow motion, come on. But my favorite part about it is the elevator is opening and he pushes her out of harm's way at the waist and does a slow-mo turn and kiss to her. And to me, it's so impactful because of the protection. I'm sorry, but I don't want to speak on behalf of all ladies out there, but when a man is a protector, that's attractive. It's the whole dominant alpha protector move of like his omega woman. You know what I mean? That's just animal instincts. That's just animalistic. That's just in our blood. Okay, that's in our DNA. So I don't think it's controversial for me to say that, right? Anyway, that's my number three because having that like form of safety in a person and to feel safe and secure with them, That's attractive, and that's the hottest part of that scene before that kiss. Yep. Okay, my number 2 technically isn't a kiss, but I gotta throw it in there because it is one of my favorite movie scenes of all time. The face lick scene between Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Batman, Michael Keaton, in Batman Returns. Okay, this is not just this is a mega power move. This is Catwoman being in charge. So just like how I said with Drive, how he was like dominant and making her safe. This is her being like, "Hey, guess what, buddy? I can take the reins also," which is, also an attractive power move for women to do. See, it's not controversial, it's equality. So that whole scene, the exchange and dialogue, what happens in the scene, and Michael Keaton biting in his bottom lip afterwards, like I was like, damn, the kiss like that from Catwoman is definitely more deadly than mistletoe, for sure, for sure. Number one, I have this written down, so I'm gonna read it out so I can get it out without tearing up too much. If I'm focusing, then I'll be able to. Okay, so my number one favorite kiss of all time in cinema on screen is the kisses between Amelie and the man she pursues in the movie Amelie. His name is Nino. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but it's one of my favorite movies. It's a French film. The color palette in this movie is amazing. The cinematography, the story, the quirkiness, the adorableness, the love, everything about this movie, the magic. It's so magical. Anyway, here, go back to my notes. The first kiss is between Amelie and the man she pursues in the movie. Amelie is one of the sweetest, most romantic kiss scenes ever. There are no words between the two of them. In fact, she stops him from speaking before she kisses him in various places, then proceeds to point to the places on herself in which she wants him to kiss. It's silent and full of emotion, and the colors are absolutely lovely. Okay, so basically, she stops him, she kisses him here on the neck and on the eye, and then she not makes, but she instructs him to kiss her in the same places. And it's just the most tender, romantic, it's not sensual. It's just like this tender, gentle, pure, loving moment. And the eye contact, you see her, it's like she's looking into his soul. And it's like you're complete in that moment. And that scene is just beautiful and precious. And if anybody watches that and doesn't get their heartstrings pulled out a little bit, you're a robot. You're an android. You're an AI. It's time to go back to Skynet. Go. There's something wrong with you. Just kidding. Maybe you don't care about love. Let's get to the cringiest. Now, like I have said before, this is personal opinion, okay? Not just like, oh, it's so gross when Luke and Leia kiss. It's like, first of all, when Luke and Leia kiss, they don't know their brother and sister, even though at the end of Return of the Jedi, Leia says, I've always known. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's a little creepy that you kissed your brother and knew it then. She didn't really know, but the reason why she was giving that kiss to Luke anyway in the first place was to be a slap in the face to Han Solo. It wasn't anything to do with Luke. It's a selfish kiss to make Han jealous, okay? Gross as the brother and sister, of course. But that's not on my list. But I do have another Star Wars pair on my most cringiest kiss list. Okay, my number 5 most cringe on-screen kiss is, oh God, I hate this movie. God, I hate this movie. It's Splice. And there's a scene between Adrian Brody and the alien, basically daughter he raises in Splice. I don't even, one of the worst movies. So Adrian Brody's character is married. I think they're married to Sarah Pauli's character, and she cannot have a child or something. They're having problems conceiving, something like that. And I don't remember the beginning of the movie, but they somehow have this alien baby. I don't remember how. I will never watch that movie again. I unfortunately skimmed through it to see this scene because I was like, this happens, right? This wasn't just like a nightmare I had from my sleep paralysis demon. Like, this happens. Yeah, it happens. Him and Sarah Polly essentially raise this baby alien thing, and then now she's a teenager, and now she's like, I guess, has these hormones, and I don't know, like, whatever, and she loves her dad. I don't know, man. But anyway, but she still looks like an alien. She has a weird stretched head, and she has these weird like chicken legs and this tail. Like, somehow I'm gonna keep saying dad because I mean, if you adopt a child, that's your child. You're their dad. So it's essentially the dad. Um, he gets turned on, I guess, by this alien daughter of his. I don't want to. And they kiss each other, but they do way more than that. And it is despicable. It is so gross and so cringe. I was furious, and I'm still furious about the movie Splice to this day. Like that movie, like lives rent free in my head forever, and it'll just pop up, and I'm like, ugh, and it haunts me like a nightmare. And I'm like, oh, Splice exists. This world will never be pure. Number four most cringe on screen kiss, which is funny that it's going to be the same people as my number four best screen kiss. And that is Sawyer and Kate from Lost again. Different scenario. The episode's called I Do, and it's season 3, episode 6. And so Kate and Sawyer at this point, I don't know if you guys ever seen Lost. It's just like what's even happening, but you keep watching because you want to know what's happening. A spoiler, you never really know. You think you know, and then you're like, oh, I get it. And it's like, I really didn't get it. And I don't think the writers got it. They didn't know where they were going. Anyway, they're caught by these people called the others, and they are in these cages. But they also have been working all day in the hot sun breaking rocks for some reason. Do we ever know why? I don't remember. But they're in Kate and Sawyer are prisoners from the others. They are forced to be working in the hot sun, sweaty, gross, no showers. I don't remember how many days this is happening for, but anyway, they are gross and grimy and yuck. They're being held in cages where their food that they eat are fish crackers that are in the shape of a fish, but I also think taste like fish because they were meant to be for polar bears. Yeah, this is the show. It's weird. Anyway, they're in their cages. Kate gets out of the cage, goes to Sawyer's cage, and she's like, "We gotta get out of here." He's like, "There ain't nowhere to go." That's a horrible accent. He's like, "There ain't nowhere to go. We're stuck here. We can't get off the island." I'm trying to be a cowboy. It doesn't really work. And they end up kissing again in this cage, which leads to more than just kissing. Okay, I have a thing with hygiene. They were working in the hot sun, no deodorant, no showers, no brushing of the teeth, fish crackers. And they are going at it. And I'm like, no, all I can think about in this scene is you guys stink. Your breath stinks. Everything stinks. Kate puts her arms up on the cage and she's like, oh my God. Oh, it's supposed to be like romantic. And he's right here. And I'm like, can't you smell her sweaty pits? This is gross. I'd be like, you know what? I'm really attracted to you. I really love you and everything, but I just cannot because we stink. I don't care if passion goes out the window at that point. If there's too much stank, cringe, 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 cringe. Not just on the man's part. My part too. I do the same thing. No, gross. Okay, number three. I know we talked about Luke and Leia and how they're not technically cringe because whatever they didn't know. But to me, which is much worse, and more cringe because I'm mad at the writers is Kylo and Rey. Kylo Ren and Rey kissing, spare me, felt so forced, was so unnecessary. It would have been more powerful if they didn't kiss. If there was no romantic anything between Kylo and Rey, it would have made more sense. And also, first of all, here's another whole thing about, oh, if a boy's mean to you, he likes you. Like, do you not remember in The Force Awakens when he was torturing you with like that mind thing and you were screaming and he was forcing you to give information? And it's like, oh, now it's like, oh, but he's good now. I changed him. He's changed. I'm so strong. Oh my God. It just I'm so mad at Disney for that whole trilogy, but it's like you turned Rey into a Disney princess. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to turn Rey into a Disney princess by having this romantic kiss with like a prince. It's like, oh my God. And it's like he's good now. Shame on you, Disney. Shame. Shame. I remember watching when it happened and I was like, no, no, please, please don't. No. And then they did. I was like laughing mad. I'm like, I cannot believe you wrote this into the story. And then they make Rose and Finn kiss. Why? Why do all these people, that a male and female can just be friends, right? And there doesn't have to be any romantic stuff between them. Disney, do you know that, Disney? Kylo and Rey is beyond cringe. It's like sacrilegious or something. It is an assault on my brain and on Star Wars, and it just is terrible. For shame. All right, my number two most cringiest kiss. Pick one. Any kiss from the room. Any romantic scene from the room. Okay, our friend Daniel DeSangre forced me to watch The Room for one of our late to the game. episodes. And that was the cringiest movie I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even gonna give a synopsis of the movie. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know that okay, there's no chemistry in this movie between anybody or anything. There's no acting. There's not like this movie is just like people are being filmed and I don't know why. But it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so good because it's so bad. Tommy Wiseau is a legend. Don't get me wrong. Like he is hilarious. I love the guy, but let me just say that any romantic scene and kissing scene in that movie, it's just you gotta everyone go watch it and just be like in solidarity with the cringiness because I just kept thinking this poor girl, this poor actress, this poor girl. No offense, Tommy Wiseau. It just didn't seem like anyone wanted to be there. Woo! Oh God. So that's number two. All right. My number one cringe is whenever I think of a cringy on-screen kiss, I think about Mark Wahlberg in Fear. Now, this is kind of different because in the movie Fear, Mark Wahlberg's character is a controlling, abusive boyfriend, very like beyond, like just bad guy. And Reese Witherspoon is like this little innocent, girl next door type thing. They end up dating. He's a bad guy, but the way he kisses her, I remember watching this movie long before I even had my first kiss. But I remember watching it thinking, yeah, I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it. Like, I don't think that, look, is that what kissing is? Because I don't want that done. Like, it was, he essentially eats her face. Even when he kisses her cheek, I'm like, do you really gotta open your mouth that big and lick with that much tongue on a cheek many times? Like, is that now? Granted, he's controlling and he's forceful. So I don't know if it was like a creative choice to make his kissing super aggressive and also look uncomfortable because you're not supposed to like him and he's not supposed to be like this gentle, trustworthy guy. Or if that's just how Mark Wahlberg feels his good vibrations. Like I don't know. Is that how he gets his bunch funky? Like I don't know. I just uh it is eating of the face. Whenever I see anything like that on screen, I always relate it to Mark Wahlberg eating of the face. Whenever there's someone like eating something big, it's like, oh, Mark Wahlberg eating of the face in Fear. I cannot watch those scenes and think that that's okay. Okay, you guys, that was my top 5 most favorite and top 5 most cringe on-screen kisses that of all time that I can remember that I can think of. I know there's way more, and I know there's more that I love, and I know there's way more that I'm like, "Ooh, don't show me this." But I can't really remember. But do you guys have any? I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. Please. I want to hear it, especially the cringy one. No, I like the love ones too. Anything you got, say it in the comments. Thank you for watching this side quest. You guys were my companions today on this side quest. What did we get for this side quest? You got some traumatized imagery. Sorry. You can find more of my content and our content on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And you can follow me on Instagram at Marie Plays It All. Never stop playing and never stop kissing, even if it's cringe at first. Just maybe have good hygiene. That's no fish cookies. Maybe wash your pits. Just be a little bit clean. No eating of the face. Don't swallow someone's soul off the bat. Maybe wait a little bit first before you do that. And don't kiss an alien teenager that you raised ever. You can stop doing that. I mean, I say never stop playing, but never ever do that ever. Adrian Brody, I'm looking at you. God, how did you? Blech. Like what? What would be bad kissing?